Hello guys, I'm John, I'm the Geeky Fanboy, and welcome back to Doctor Who Series 12, we're at episode 2, and it's the second part of the Spyfall story, also written by Chris Chibnall. So as always, I'm gonna talk mostly spoiler-free, and I'm going to jump into some details for the stuff I really liked, or also didn't like, but I'll give you a warning beforehand, so let's go. Oh, this was such a fun episode, I thought. I think I even liked it a bit more than the first part, which was already quite strong. I thought. So, I mean, obviously, I know this is a spoiler-free part, but we all know now who the guy is, given the fact that, this is the second part of the story. So, yeah, Master. So, he's in this, and oh my god, I love him so much. I absolutely adore this actor, Sasha Dewana, if I remember his name correctly now. I'm sorry if I didn't. But yeah, oh my god. I absolutely love the way he plays him, and the Master's definitely my favorite thing about this whole episode. Every time he was on screen, I was like, oh yeah, this is gonna be a good scene. Absolutely love the actor. You can see how much fun he's having with this part. And yeah, again, I think he's still a very similar, no, well, not very similar, but you can see some John Sim aspects in in the way this Master is written and being portrayed. So I'm still sort of thinking that this is a Master that happens before Missy, and they're revealing some stuff about him and his past that has quite a big impact, if you ask me, especially in regards to his relationship with the Doctor and their history and all that. And I wouldn't be surprised if the Master would make a reappearance later in the series, or at least in Jodie Whittaker's time, because they're setting up some stuff where I was like, whew, heavy, okay, that happened, but let's focus on what he does in this episode. I think this is a fantastic historical drama thriller, you could almost say. I had a lot of fun watching it. Again, they're doing like sort of a split storyline sort of thing, which I personally think worked a bit better in this episode, since we only have like mostly two storylines happening at the same time. So one that happens throughout history and one that happens throughout our time. And I like all of the characters doing like their own little thing. I like that we got to see a lot more of the Doctor in this episode, since last time I complained that she maybe didn't get to do it as much as I would have liked her to do. But this time she shines, and Jodie Whittaker is just absolutely fantastic. You just have to say that. You can see that very well in this episode, how wonderful she is as the Doctor. And without giving too much away, but there's a scene in there, well, multiple scenes, when she talks to the Master, and I think their moments are so intense and so interesting, and those actors work very, very well together. And those are some of my favourite bits in this episode, when it's just the Doctor and the Master together. I mean, we always know that when those two are on screen alone, scenes are going to be great. And with those two new actors, well, Jodie Whittaker isn't that new anymore, but you know what I mean. Yeah, it was wonderful and so fascinating to watch. Story-wise, I have to admit that at first I was a bit confused at times, because it still is somewhat convoluted at certain points, and like I said last time, there are a lot of questions being asked, and we haven't really gotten any answers up to this point, and they're taking their time with it. Like, I think only like at least halfway through the episode we're starting to get some answers. What's actually going on? What's the Master's plan? And what's the deal with the weird light aliens and all that? So I wish that we maybe could have gotten some answers a bit earlier, so that we could have like, you know, played around a bit with what the aliens and the Master's plans and all that are. So I don't know, just for me personally, I would have liked some more detail here and there, which would have been possible if we had gotten answers earlier, and there was some things in there where I was like in regards to the master, where I was like, okay, so why is that actually going on there? Like, is it just he wants to take over the world, like his usual shtick? I don't know. So some more explanations here and there would have been nice. I do like the whole vibe of the episode though, whereas the first story was first part was very much about this James Bond espionage sort of feeling. This second part is quite different in its vibe. Like it felt a lot more like a classic Doctor Who time travel, almost thriller. You could say. I mean, you still have sort of the spy elements with the gadgets and everything, but the second part feels a lot more like a classic Doctor Who episode in all of its good ways and also in some of its bad ways. You could argue, but mostly I think this was a very fun episode. Like I said, I think I even preferred to the first part simply because it feels more like a classic a Doctor Who story. So we do have like the Doctor traveling through time and space, babbling some time travel nonsense that no one around her understands, while her companions have to deal with some pretty heavy problems where you think the whole time, oh shoot, they're probably gonna die. We have the Master obviously being his classic diabolical self, and with the aliens invading and all that. Yeah, it feels very classic, and there's also some very good humor in this episode again, especially in regards to Graham. Graham just continues to be my favorite companion of the three, and he has some very good humorous scenes again, especially towards the beginning of the episode. There were some things here and there already mentioned that I wanted to be explained a bit more. Especially in regards to like the aliens. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know if they're like a one-off villain. I assume they are. It was just something. I just wanted a bit more from them because it did seem quite interesting, especially in regards to like this weird alternate reality dimension sort of thing where we saw the Doctor at the end of the first part. And I wanted some more explanation there because they do like try to explain some stuff, but they also rush a lot of things or just like mention it here and there. And I was like, oh no, I actually wanted to know a bit more about that because it seems quite interesting. Without spoilers, but in regards to Burton, to like the tech guy who's like only 93% human. I wanted a bit more like why that was. I mean, sure, they kind of explain it, what the reason behind that is, but I wanted a bit more detail what was actually behind that idea and what the aliens wanted with the humans and all that. Like I just wanted a bit more. Um, Given the fact that this episode was also an hour long, they should have taken the time to do that. I think. But then I also really enjoyed just having the scenes with the Master there, just being the Master. Like, I just really enjoy watching that guy. What I enjoyed though, on the other hand, was which isn't really a spoiler, but I like that the relationship between the Doctor and her companions starts to get some more development. Like the first series with her with Jodie Whittaker was all good and fine. I loved her together with her new companions and everything. But I like that we are still at a point where the companions don't completely understand her or know her, and they're, as they already mentioned in the first part, they're slowly like teasing it with the companions trying to find out who the Doctor really is. And I like that we still have this sort of mystery for them where they try to find out who this woman really is, what her home is, where she, like all that. I like that we still have that sort of mystery. I do hope that we get some more conversations regarding that because they do tease it quite heavily in like this first two-parter where Graham is always like, well, we do always ask her, but she never answers and all that. So I do hope that we get some more development in that regard. Okay, so I'm going to jump into some details for the episode, so if you haven't seen it yet, turn the video off now. So I already mentioned that the Doctor and her companions like sort of split again in this episode, and that we have two separate storylines. I like what they did with the Doctor's storyline, that she sort of picks up like new companions, and I always like it when we have like sort of secondary companions that are only there for one episode. I do like that, and they wrote those two women very well, and they are very interesting. I thought I like that we sort of have like this female trio. I thought that was quite cool. I already mentioned that that my favorite bits were the scenes when the Doctor and the Master were together, and I already teased that the one scene I meant, which since this is a spoiler part now, I can talk about. I mean, specifically the conversation they have during 1943 at the top of the Eiffel Tower. This is such a fantastic scene. I absolutely love that. I was just so much in there, so much emotion, and when the Master starts to almost tear up about what's going on with Gallifrey, I was seriously starting to think, oh my god, what happened? Why is he sad? Because when's the Master ever sad like that? And again, that guy's acting, so good, so good. And also regarding that 1943 time thing, I've seen some people already mention it on Tumblr, all that they thought it was a bit, I don't know, problematic or something, since the guy who plays the Master isn't a white guy, but the Master is one of the high-ranking Nazi officers during that scene, and then the Doctor sort of defeats him in that moment by destroying his perception filter so that the Nazis now see him as the not white guy and think that he's a British spy and all that. And I saw some people being like, oh, that's not a good that's really not a good thing. And I thought, come on. Like, I mean, I'm pretty sure the Master is aware of the fact that, we humans are twats and we're racist. And he doesn't look like the Doctor puts it, like the typical Aryan sort of person the Nazis like. So yeah, that sort of thing was bound to happen. Like, what else do you want to do? The storyline with the companions and like in the 21st century, I thought was quite fun as well. There's a lot of humor coming from that, again with Graham, absolutely hilarious. I thought, especially like in the beginning when they're in the plane and Graham's just basically flying all over the place. My only problem with that storyline regarding the companions was that at times they just too frequently did they're in danger. We cut away, and when we go back to them, they're fine. Like, they did that a bit too often at times. Like, when Graham is shooting lasers at them, they're like 50 or 100 of those aliens surrounding them, and then Graham starts shooting lasers, and I was like, is this working? I'm not quite sure. And then it cuts away while they're running, and then next scene they're fine. And I thought, okay. So that happened like a couple of times when I was surrounded or near the aliens. And I thought, and now, danger, absolute danger. And then cut away, and they're fine. And I just thought, okay. Again, just a bit more explanation at some point, maybe. I already mentioned, like, in regards to Barton and the whole alien thing, that he's only 93% human. So the only thing we basically got is that he offers them his DNA so they can do what? Do experiments. Like, did I miss something? If I missed something, please tell me in the comments down below. But I basically just I go, well, okay, they're using human DNA to experiment. For what? Like, what are they? Yeah, like losing it for their dimension weird thingy. Like, honestly, like I said, it could be me missing out on something. I just thought, okay, what is it exactly that they're doing? Okay, and the last thing I of course need to talk about is that ending. That ending when the Doctor is in the TARDIS and the hologram of the Master comes on, and after she's seen Gallifrey, and I was like, what the hell? What happened to what? I'm like, okay, I know the Time Lords aren't always the nicest person in the room, but what the hell happened to the planet? And then we have the hologram of the Master explaining what happened, and he says, "Oh, that was me, by the way." And I thought, what? Why, man? And then comes the tease, the ultimate tease. He's like, I had to do this to them for what they've lied about. And he says, like, you were right, everything we always thought we were is built on a lie, like our entire species lied to us. And Like, what the hell is he talking about? I just want to know. You know, it's always like a big thing when it's about Gallifrey and the Time Lords, and now they're giving this to us in the first story of the new series. Like, what the hell, people? So the only sort of specific mention we do get is the Master saying the timeless child, which is something that has come up before, but without any sort of greater detail. And we already saw like the Doctor like very heavily reacting to this with a memory. And we have the Master saying this is deeply ingrained into all our Time Lords memories, and like boy, there's gonna be quite some interesting stuff coming up in this series. I guess it's maybe gonna be the mystery box for this series to find out, okay, what's the timeless child and why did the Master destroy Gallifrey? What are the Time Lords hiding again, basically? And I have no idea. I have absolutely no clue what we will get, but I am quite excited because not only does that mean we're diving into some Time Lord Gallifrey history again, which is always a big thing, but it might also mean that we see the Master again at the end of this series or in the next series or something, because I really, really like this guy. I don't know why, but he's cool, and I like his whole vibe, and this whole first two-parter is such a great and big story. Like, it's not the best two-parter ever, but the scale of this is already so big. Like, this could have easily been almost like a series finale. And to give us the new Master in the series opener is, whew, I mean, quite a gamble, but a gamble that paid off if you ask me. And I could see him maybe coming back in the series finale. We'll see. But in conclusion, I really enjoyed this first story of the new series. It's a bit different from what we usually get from a series opener in terms of like scale, the characters we meet, and all that. But I think they did a good job. It was like great seeing the Doctor and her companions again. There's still a lot of fun to watch when they're on screen, and I am very, very excited to watch the next couple of episodes of this series. Okay, so those are my thoughts on Spyfall Part 2. What are your thoughts? Tell me down in the comments below. Do you think this was a good first story of the new series? Do you like the new Master? What do you think of him? Do tell me down in the comments below. I'd love to hear from you. Don't forget to like and subscribe if you haven't done that already. I hope you enjoyed my little review, and I see you guys next time. Bye.